The gentle sunlight filtered through the large curtains, illuminating the luxurious penthouse in the heart of London. Transparent glass panels reflected the bustling cityscape, creating a scene both modern and opulent. Lila Evans stirred slightly, her eyes hesitating as they opened to a completely unfamiliar reality. The spacious bed with its silky white sheets, the polished marble floors, and the elegant furnishings of the room left Lila disoriented. This was not her cozy little apartment filled with IKEA furniture. Sitting up, she clutched the blanket tightly, seeking a sense of security amidst the overwhelming luxury. Her head throbbed, and the hazy memories of the night before felt like fragmented pieces of a puzzle. The graduation party, the laughter, the free cocktails her friends insisted she drink. Then everything became a blur, like a thick fog covering her mind. Lila took a deep breath, trying to remain calm amidst the uncertainty of her situation. A soft knock on the door pulled her back to reality. The door creaked open, and a man entered. Adrian Blackwood. Tall, sophisticated, and exuding authority, he looked as though he had stepped straight out of a magazine cover. His perfectly tailored suit and piercing gaze seemed to shrink the space around him. In his hands were 2 steaming cups of coffee, the gentle aroma filling the room. "Good morning," Adrian greeted, his voice deep and calm yet polite. He set 1 cup of coffee on the bedside table, his gaze steady but non-threatening. "I hope you're feeling better after last night." "Last night?" Lila echoed, her eyes widening as she looked at him with suspicion. "What happened?" Adrian stood upright, keeping a respectful distance to ensure she felt at ease. "You had a bit too much to drink at the party, and a group of people tried to take you away. I happened to see it and couldn't just stand by. I brought you here to make sure you were safe, and just so you know, I slept on the couch." His words hit Lila like a jolt, leaving her momentarily speechless. She pressed her lips together, struggling to control her confusion and doubt. "Thank you," she finally said softly, her voice shaky but genuine. Adrian offered a faint smile, one that carried no malice but instead a strange sense of reassurance. "You're welcome. If you're feeling up to it, I've prepared breakfast in the kitchen. Have something to eat before you head out." Lila nodded slightly, her eyes wavering as she watched Adrian leave the room. His politeness and calm demeanor left her conflicted. She couldn't decipher who this enigmatic man truly was. But one thing was certain, this encounter would change her life forever. Welcome to Soul Stories. Today we bring you a heartwarming tale. Let us know which city you're tuning in from around the world. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to catch more meaningful stories. Chapter 1. The Unexpected Encounter. 2 weeks after that unforgettable morning, Lila Evans had returned to the rhythm of her life. She had just started her new job at one of London's most prestigious financial firms, Sterling Finance. With a sleek briefcase and a polished professional demeanor, Lila walked into her first day with both excitement and a touch of nervousness. She reminded herself that this was the pivotal step toward building the career she had always dreamed of. Her first day passed smoothly with introductions and getting to know her colleagues. Everything seemed to be falling into place until the second morning when she was informed she would be attending an important meeting with the leadership team to discuss a major strategic partnership. Adjusting her blazer, she took a deep breath and entered the meeting room, feeling slightly tense. The room exuded a professional atmosphere with sharply dressed individuals and the soft glow of light streaming through floor-to-ceiling glass windows. Lila chose a seat in a less conspicuous corner, striving to keep a low profile. But as soon as she sat down, a familiar voice rang out, making her heart skip a beat. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Mr. Adrian Blackwood, CEO of Blackwood Investments and our key strategic partner for this project." Lila froze. She raised her eyes, and there he was, Adrian Blackwood. Standing at the head of the table, he exuded authority and composure in a perfectly tailored charcoal suit. In an instant, their eyes met, and she saw a flicker of recognition mixed with amusement in his gaze. She could tell he remembered her. Her heart raced, and she quickly looked down at the documents in front of her, pretending to focus. Throughout the meeting, she could feel Adrian's occasional glances, but he maintained a professional demeanor. His restraint brought her a strange sense of relief and confusion. The meeting lasted over an hour. As attendees began gathering their belongings and heading out, Lila hurried to collect her materials and make her escape before Adrian could approach her. But just as she reached the hallway, a deep, familiar voice stopped her in her tracks. Lila! She paused, taking a steadying breath before turning around. Adrian stood there, his gaze confident and calm as ever. He stepped closer, but kept a respectful distance. Fancy meeting you here, he said, a faint smile playing on his lips. I didn't think we'd cross paths again. Neither did I, Lila replied, striving to keep her tone composed. Small world, isn't it? Adrian chuckled softly. Indeed. How are you? How's the new job treating you? It's been good so far, she said, avoiding his gaze. And thank you for what you did last time. I don't think I properly expressed my gratitude. Adrian's expression grew more serious. You don't need to thank me. I did what anyone should do in that situation. Before their conversation could progress further, another man entered the hallway, his presence shifting the atmosphere. Marcus Alaric, a prominent rival of Adrian in the finance world, approached with an air of smug confidence. With his neatly combed silver hair and calculating eyes, he exuded an unsettling charm. Adrian, Marcus greeted, extending a hand in a handshake that lingered too long. What a pleasant surprise to see you here. And this must be… Lila Evans, a new member of Sterling Finance, Adrian replied, his tone polite but steely. Marcus flashed a practiced smile that didn't reach his eyes. Pleasure to meet you, Ms. Evans. I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot more of each other in the future. Lila offered a polite nod, but Marcus's sharp gaze made her uneasy. Likewise, she said softly. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, Marcus departed, leaving Adrian and Lila alone in the now quieter hallway. Adrian watched Marcus's retreating figure with a hardened expression. When he turned back to Lila, his voice carried a note of warning. Be careful with him. Marcus never does anything without a hidden agenda. Lila nodded, sensing the weight behind Adrian's words. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Adrian studied her for a moment as if debating whether to say more, but in the end he simply smiled. If you ever need anything, I'm just a call away. As Adrian walked away, Lila felt a swirl of emotions. She didn't fully understand the web she was being drawn into, but she knew one thing. Her connection with Adrian was far from over, and the presence of Marcus Alaric would only make things more complicated. Chapter 2. Secrets Revealed. Life at Sterling Finance became more complex for Lila after reuniting with Adrian. She tried to maintain her distance, but his presence in meetings and projects made that nearly impossible. She often caught Adrian's gaze lingering on her, a silent acknowledgement that he understood the turmoil she was grappling with. One quiet afternoon at the office, while Lila was immersed in preparing a report, an unmarked brown envelope appeared on her desk. Intrigued and apprehensive, she opened it to find a dossier filled with detailed allegations against Adrian's financial dealings. Accompanying the documents was a handwritten note. Lila Evans, Adrian Blackwood is not the man you think he is. He's involved in shady deals, exploiting his power and finances to manipulate the market. I urge you to reconsider any association with him. If you publicly support these accusations, I can ensure your safety and secure your career at Sterling Finance. Marcus Alaric. Lila's heart pounded as she read the note. Doubts and fears swirled in her mind. Could Adrian really be as unscrupulous as Marcus claimed? Or was this an elaborate scheme? Either way, Marcus had dragged her into a battle between two powerful men. Unsure of what to believe, Lila decided to confront Adrian directly. Picking up her phone, she dialed the number on the business card he had given her. Adrian's calm, familiar voice answered. Lila, is everything all right? We need to talk, she said, her voice trembling slightly. There's something I need you to explain. Adrian arranged to meet her at a quiet cafe near the office. When Lila arrived, he was already seated, dressed in a dark suit, his expression composed, but with a hint of concern as he watched her approach. What's this about? Adrian asked, his tone steady, though his sharp eyes searched hers for answers. Lila placed the envelope on the table and pushed it toward him. Marcus Alaric sent this to me. He wants me to publicly support these accusations against you. I need to know the truth. Adrian opened the envelope and skimmed through its contents. His jaw tightened, and his eyes flashed with anger. "Marcus has crossed the line," he muttered, his voice low. "These documents contain fragments of truth, but they've been distorted to serve his agenda." "Then explain," Lila demanded, her voice firm despite her racing heart. "I need to know where I stand." Adrian leaned back in his chair, meeting her gaze. "Marcus and I have been rivals for years. He's always sought to undermine me, not just professionally, but personally. The deals he references were all legal, but he's framed them to make me look corrupt. I won't deny that I've made tough decisions in my career, but I've never crossed legal or ethical lines." Lila studied him, searching for sincerity in his eyes. "Then why is he involving me?" "Because you're the only person he thinks he can manipulate right now," Adrian replied, leaning forward slightly. "You're connected to me, and you're new at Sterling Finance. If you go public against me, it will damage my reputation significantly." "And if I refuse," Lila asked, her voice wavering, "he'll ruin my career." Adrian's expression softened, his voice resolute. "We face the truth head on. Marcus doesn't play fair, but we won't let him dictate the narrative. I need you to trust me, Lila. I won't let you become collateral damage." Adrian proposed a bold move, a press conference to address the allegations and expose Marcus's schemes. Though hesitant, Lila couldn't ignore Adrian's determination and the sincerity in his words. Gradually, she began to feel reassured. "We won't let Marcus intimidate us," Adrian said. "I'll take responsibility publicly, but you need to stand by me. Together, we can neutralize his threat." Lila took a deep breath. "All right, I'll do it. But you need to be certain we'll come out of this unscathed." Adrian nodded confidently. "I promise." The day of the press conference arrived. The room was packed with reporters, their cameras flashing and questions hanging in the air. Adrian stepped up to the podium first, his demeanor composed and commanding. He explained the allegations with clarity, providing evidence to counter each accusation. "The information Marcus Alaric has provided has been manipulated to suit his personal agenda," Adrian stated firmly, his gaze unwavering as it swept across the crowd. "I am fully prepared to offer all necessary proof to demonstrate my integrity." Lila then took the stage, her voice trembling at first but growing stronger with conviction. "I am not a victim, nor will I allow my name to be used to further lies. Adrian helped me when I needed it most, and I trust his honesty." Their united front silenced the doubters in the room. Investigations quickly confirmed that Marcus's documents were falsified. Public opinion shifted in Adrian's favor, and Marcus faced mounting pressure from both the media and authorities. Ultimately, he was arrested for blackmail and forging documents. Later that evening, Adrian and Lila celebrated their hard-won victory in his penthouse. Over glasses of wine, they allowed themselves a moment to breathe. "Thank you for trusting me," Adrian said softly, his gaze steady on hers. "I know that wasn't an easy decision." Lila smiled, a mix of relief and newfound confidence in her eyes. "Thank you for standing by me. I think I was right to believe you're not like everyone else." Though the future remained uncertain, one thing was clear. Lila had discovered the courage to face the truth, and with Adrian by her side, she felt ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 3. The climax of conflict. The brief calm following the press conference was shattered when Marcus unleashed a barrage of fabricated documents to the media. Headlines like "Adrian Blackwood and his shady deals" and "Powerful CEO or financial manipulator" flooded newspapers, television, and social media, tarnishing Adrian's reputation overnight. Marcus, exuding smug confidence, appeared on multiple media outlets, insisting that his evidence was irrefutable. In a live interview, he proclaimed, "Adrian Blackwood has deceived the public for years. These documents prove that he orchestrated illegal deals for personal gain. I can't stand by and watch the financial industry be corrupted any longer." The media frenzy turned its gaze on Adrian, bombarding him with questions and scrutiny. The pressure on him intensified, and the weight of public judgment became almost unbearable. At Sterling Finance, Lila followed the unfolding chaos with mounting anxiety. Her colleagues began whispering, their faith in Adrian wavering. She could feel the divide growing within the company as doubts and rumors spread. One evening, Adrian arrived at Lila's office. He looked weary, the stress etched into his features, but his eyes still burned with determination. "I knew this was coming," he said, his voice low. "Marcus doesn't back down easily, but I'm not going to let him win." Lila's heart ached for him, but she held her composure. "I believe in you, Adrian, but the public needs to see the truth. We have to act now." Adrian gave a faint smile, one tinged with exhaustion. "We will, but this time I need you by my side." Adrian called for an urgent press conference at the headquarters of Blackwood Investments. The room was packed with journalists, flashing cameras, and relentless questions. Outside, a crowd had gathered, eager for answers. As Adrian took the podium, the room grew silent with anticipation. He began speaking, his voice calm but resolute. "In recent days, my reputation and that of my company have been under attack by baseless accusations. Today, I will prove that the allegations made by Marcus Alaric are entirely fabricated." Adrian presented a series of official financial documents, contracts, and emails, all validated by legal experts. On the large screen behind him, he demonstrated how Marcus had manipulated legitimate data to create a false narrative of corruption. Lila sat in the front row, her hands clenched tightly in her lap. As Adrian concluded his presentation, he turned to her, giving a small nod of encouragement. Taking a deep breath, she stood and stepped onto the stage. "Good evening," Lila began, her voice trembling slightly but her gaze steady. "I'm not a public figure, but I'm here to share my story." She recounted the night of her graduation when Adrian had intervened to protect her from a potentially dangerous situation. "Adrian Blackwood is not a manipulator or an opportunist. He's the person who helped me when I needed it most, without asking for anything in return. What Marcus Alaric is doing is a vile attempt to destroy his character." Her heartfelt words resonated with the audience, sparking an emotional response from the journalists in the room. The energy shifted, and the tide began turning. As the press conference neared its end, Adrian's legal team delivered a final blow. They unveiled evidence that Marcus had hired a team of experts to forge the documents he had presented as evidence. Further investigations revealed that Marcus had used these falsified documents to blackmail other figures in the financial world, including high-ranking officials. Outrage swept through the public. Hashtags like #Justice for Adrian and #Expose Marcus began trending across social media. Within hours, public and media pressure forced authorities to act. Marcus was arrested on charges of document forgery and extortion. After the press conference, Adrian and Lila returned to his penthouse. They sat on the balcony, gazing out at the glittering city lights. "We did it," Adrian said softly, his deep voice tinged with relief. "I couldn't have done this without you." Lila smiled, her eyes reflecting her exhaustion and pride. "You fought for the truth, Adrian, and I'm proud to have stood by your side." Adrian turned to her, his gaze filled with gratitude and warmth. "Thank you, Lila. Not just for believing in me, but for reminding me of what truly matters." The two sat in companionable silence, the weight of the past few weeks slowly lifting. They knew this was only the beginning of a new chapter, one where trust, hope, and resilience would guide their path forward. Chapter 4. Rebuilding Lives. The storm passed, but its echoes lingered in the lives of Adrian and Lila. While Adrian's reputation was restored, he felt a deep sense of responsibility to go beyond proving his innocence. "We need to do something for others," Adrian told Lila one evening, "for those who don't have the chance to stand up for themselves like I did." Sitting in a small meeting room at Blackwood Investments, they brainstormed plans for a new initiative. "I want to create a nonprofit organization," Adrian began, his determination evident. "We'll provide legal and financial support to victims of financial scams, just like the ones Marcus preyed on." Lila nodded, seeing the idea as both a noble cause and a chance to make a meaningful impact. "I can help design the operational structure, establish financial processes, and connect with partners," she said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. Adrian smiled warmly. "I knew you'd say that. I want you to lead this project, Lila. You're the perfect person for it." Lila hesitated, her confidence wavering. "Adrian, I've never run something this big before." "But you have the heart and the knowledge," Adrian assured her. "That's all we need." Birth of the Haven Foundation. The new organization, aptly named Haven Foundation, began taking shape. Lila poured her energy into crafting its framework, recruiting staff, establishing legal aid programs, and organizing community education workshops. "We need to focus on raising awareness," Lila emphasized during a team meeting. "So many people don't understand the complexities of financial schemes, and we need to empower them to protect themselves." Adrian stood by her every step of the way, not just as the founder, but as a dedicated supporter. He used his influence to connect with prominent organizations, secure funding, and invite top professionals to join the cause. Their first workshop was held at a local community center. Adrian shared his story of overcoming betrayal, while Lila taught attendees how to recognize and avoid financial threats. After the session, a middle-aged woman approached Lila, tears brimming in her eyes. "Thank you for what you and Adrian are doing," she said. "I lost everything to a scam, but now I feel like I can start over." A growing bond. As they worked together, Adrian and Lila grew closer. Late-night strategy sessions turned into shared stories about their lives, dreams, and fears. One evening, after finalizing plans for a major Haven Foundation event, Adrian invited Lila to stay for dinner. In the cozy dining room of his penthouse, they shared a simple meal that felt profound in its intimacy. "You didn't just help me rebuild my reputation," Adrian said, his eyes meeting hers with genuine emotion. "You reminded me that life is about more than numbers and transactions." "Thank you, Lila." Lila smiled, her eyes sparkling. "And you showed me that the world can change if we try together." Outside of work, their bond deepened through shared moments of simplicity. They walked through London's parks, admired the city's skyline at night, and cooked meals together in Adrian's kitchen. One day, Lila found Adrian trying to make her favorite dessert, a lemon tart. She laughed at the sight of him struggling with flour and sugar. "You didn't have to do this," she teased. "But I wanted to make you smile," Adrian replied, his eyes warm. Haven Foundation's success. Under Lila's leadership, the Haven Foundation quickly gained recognition as a beacon of hope. They assisted hundreds of victims of financial fraud, providing not only legal and financial aid, but also fostering a supportive community. Letters of gratitude poured in from those they had helped. One particularly moving letter from an elderly man read, "I thought my life was over after losing all my savings, but thanks to your organization, I've regained hope and started anew. You didn't just save my finances, you saved my spirit." A quiet revelation. One evening, as they stood on Adrian's penthouse balcony, overlooking the dazzling lights of London, Adrian turned to Lila. "You know, Lila," he began, his voice soft, "I never thought I'd open my heart to anyone again after everything I've been through." Lila stayed silent, her gentle gaze encouraging him to continue. "But you changed that," Adrian admitted. "You haven't just transformed the lives of those around you. You've changed me." Lila felt her heart swell with emotion. "And you've helped me find true purpose in what I do." They stood in silence, but the unspoken connection between them spoke volumes. Both knew that their partnership was no longer just professional. They were companions, embarking on a journey of meaning and possibility together. Are you still following the story? If yes, comment Pepsi. Chapter 5. Love and a New Beginning. The city lights of London shimmered like jewels, reflecting through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse where it all began. Adrian invited Lila there on a special evening, shortly after they had wrapped up a successful workshop for the Haven Foundation. Adrian had prepared everything meticulously. The penthouse glowed with candlelight and the soft scent of roses. On the dining table, a simple yet elegant meal was arranged. "I wanted tonight to be meaningful," Adrian said, pulling out a chair for Lila to sit. They enjoyed dinner in a warm atmosphere, reminiscing about the memories they had made and the challenges they had overcome together. Afterward, Adrian led Lila out to the balcony, where the city's light stretched endlessly into the horizon. "Lila," Adrian began, his deep voice steady yet tinged with nervousness. "You've taught me so much. You've been more than a partner. You've been the light that guided me through my darkest days." Lila smiled, her eyes glistening with emotion. "And you've changed me, Adrian. You've shown me that life is more than just numbers and plans. It's about love and sharing. Adrian chuckled softly before kneeling, a small box in his hand. Lila Evans, will you marry me? I want to build a family and a future filled with hope and love, with you by my side. Tears of joy streamed down Lila's cheeks as she nodded. Her voice quivered with happiness. Yes, Adrian, I will. Adrian's face lit up as he slipped the ring onto her finger and embraced her, their kiss sealing the moment beneath the city's glowing skyline. Adrian and Lila's wedding took place in a small, flower-filled garden, surrounded by family and close friends. Lila wore a pristine white dress that was simple yet elegant, reflecting her natural grace. Adrian, in a sleek gray suit, couldn't take his eyes off his bride. You are the best thing that has ever happened to me, Adrian declared in his vows. I promise to love and protect you for the rest of my life. And you've taught me how to trust, to love, and to create something meaningful together, Lila replied, her voice filled with emotion. As they exchanged vows and shared their first kiss as a married couple, the crowd erupted into applause. Lila's best friend Regina playfully teased her during the reception. Finally, Lila, you've gone from living by plans to following your heart. After the wedding, Adrian and Lila moved to a modern yet cozy beachfront house in Cornwall. The home, with its spacious balcony overlooking the ocean, became their sanctuary for starting their new life. They spent mornings watching the sunrise over the water, sipping coffee, and planning initiatives for the Haven Foundation. Afternoons were for strolling along the sandy shores, their bare feet brushing against the cool waves, savoring each moment of peace. Did you ever imagine we'd live like this? Lila asked one afternoon as they sat by the water, hand in hand. I never dared to dream, but you made it a reality, Adrian replied, his eyes filled with love. A year later, Lila gave birth to twin daughters, Aria and Elena. The day they brought their little angels home, Adrian couldn't take his eyes off them. They're perfect, he whispered, holding his wife and daughters in a tender embrace. Aria inherited Lila's bright, curious eyes, while Elena had Adrian's calm demeanor and quiet strength. Together, Adrian and Lila devoted themselves to their daughters, cherishing every moment, from teaching them to walk on the beach to sharing bedtime stories under a warm golden glow. We really do have everything, Lila said one day, watching Adrian play with the girls on the sand. And it all started that fateful night, Adrian replied, smiling at her. Though their lives were filled with family joys, Adrian and Lila never lost sight of the Haven Foundation. The organization thrived, providing thousands of individuals with the resources and support needed to overcome financial hardships. Lila managed the foundation with unwavering passion and expertise, while Adrian focused on fostering relationships and securing funding. One day, Adrian received a heartfelt letter from a woman who had been helped by the foundation. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Blackwood. Your support saved me from losing everything. You didn't just restore my finances. You gave me hope for a better future. One summer afternoon, Adrian, Lila, and their daughters played on the beach, their laughter mingling with the gentle sound of waves. Aria and Elena, with their radiant smiles, built sandcastles while Adrian and Lila stood nearby, watching with pride and love. Did you ever think life could be this wonderful? Adrian asked, wrapping his arm around Lila. No, Lila replied, leaning into him, but I always believed we deserved the best. As the sun set, its golden hues blanketed the family in warmth, creating a scene of pure serenity. They had overcome every challenge, built a loving family, and established a foundation that continued to make a difference in the world. The story closed with the family united in love and hope, but their journey was far from over. Through trust, connection, and perseverance, Lila and Adrian proved that love and resilience could conquer all. Their legacy stood as a testament to the power of partnership and the belief that even the most unexpected beginnings can lead to extraordinary endings. Thank you for following this story. Please rate it from 1 to 5 stars and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our Soul Stories channel. Your support is the motivation for us to continue bringing more great stories.